What's up, Willowbrook? I hope you're doing well. Years ago, my wife and I took a trip to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and as we were walking past some shops downtown, we were stopped by someone that said that if we went to this 90-minute tour, this 90-minute presentation, that we would be given dinner passes and free nights at a hotel and gift cards to some restaurants. And a lot of you watching already know what I'm talking about. It was a timeshare tour. And at the time, my wife and I had no interest in purchasing a timeshare. So after just a quick discussion, we decided, sure, yeah, we'll go get some free stuff. So when we got there, a lot of you may already know what happened. We went for some free passes, but 90 minutes later, we were the proud owners of a brand new timeshare. Now, if you're like us, you're probably asking, what happened, right? Well, I'll tell you what happened. They had a great salesman. He said all the right things at all the right times, and he sold us on something we didn't even want to buy. And what makes it worse is years later, this vacation dream turned really into just a cheap alternative. We realized that it didn't live up to the hype. So we were sold by a good salesman. And today in 2 Corinthians chapter 11, this is Paul's concern for the church in Corinth. Not that they would purchase a timeshare, but that they would be led astray to a false Christ by some good salesmen. Starting in verse 3, he says, I'm afraid that just as Eve was deceived by the serpent's cunning, your minds may somehow be led astray from your sincere and pure devotion to Christ. For if someone comes to you and preaches a Jesus other than the Jesus we preached, or if you receive a different spirit from the spirit you received, or a different gospel from the one you accepted, you put up with it easily enough. See, Paul was concerned that the church was going to be led to this false gospel simply because the people proclaiming it did it so eloquently. They were good salesmen. And this was an issue here in Corinth in the first century, but it's still an issue in the church today. That someone can come preach and proclaim a gospel message or talk about God, but is it really the God of the Bible that they're preaching? Is it really the gospel message from Scripture? So how do we safeguard ourselves from that? How do we protect ourselves from being led astray? 2 words. Be Berean. I'll say it again. Be Berean. So those of you that have been reading the New Testament with us this year may remember in Acts chapter 17, the Bereans would study the Scriptures every day to make sure that what Paul was telling them was found in Scripture. And this is what we should be doing as well. Every day, we should be studying to see what God is saying, what God is showing us, and how it lines up with the message that's being preached. So I want to encourage you, when you hear someone preach or teach something that you disagree with, look it up in Scripture. When you hear someone preaching something that you do agree with, look it up in Scripture. And also, if you hear someone preaching something and you don't even know what to think, look it up in Scripture. Because as believers, we want to be sold out to the Christ of Scripture and not just sold a cheap alternative. God bless you.